Graeme, I guess the mood has been very much lifted by the result on Wednesday, is that fair?
It is, yeah. The boys were quite buoyant in the change room after the game, rightly so I thought they put a really good shift in, but they've been brought down to earth, not with a bump, quite gently, making sure we get them ready to go again, because we know it's going to be a difficult task on Sunday.
How different or more difficult do you think it will be on Sunday?
It will be difficult. It will be more difficult in different ways. I don't really put a scale on these things. I just have to make sure the players are ready for it and they can't take anything for granted. So they know when they go out on Sunday, it's going to be a difficult game. They need to get to the levels they got to on Wednesday in terms of work rate, of commitment, of winning battles, and go from there. That has to be our minimum standard.
You've talked about, obviously, the need to get rid of the inconsistency, but in terms of what you changed on Wednesday night, tactically and in terms of personnel, you must be personally very pleased that came off.
Well, we looked at things that didn't necessarily work previously. We looked at Aberdeen and some areas we thought we could exploit, and the personnel to do that are available to us, so we changed the shape slightly. It allowed Carlos some freedom to go and get in the box, and lo and behold, he did what he does. He goes and gets in the box and scores a goal. But I think the shape behind Carlos and behind the front two, who worked extremely hard, gave us the solidity we needed to go and express ourselves, and some of our play into our little overload in the middle of the pitch was excellent, and that gave us a real foundation to go from.
Do you expect Aberdeen to be a notch or two above the levels they put in at the weekend? Is that what you've got to prepare for, as if that's going to happen?
We expect them to be at their top of their game. What we have to do is prep our players as though that's going to be the case, because I'm sure that the Aberdeen staff and the players won't be happy with that result. I think their manager called it a sore one, so we have to expect a response. What we have to do when we walk out onto the football pitch is prepare to go above and beyond their level of intensity, but marry it to a calm head and a bit of quality, which I thought we did really well on Wednesday. I thought that we didn't get carried away. We got our levels of play and intensity just about right.
You talked about bringing the boys back down to get through the bump. Is that because you've seen the last two performances before Wednesday? You know that there's no point getting carried away, that you need to get that consistency and you need to get that sort of level headedness? The
players need to know what mental state they were in before they went onto the pitch. So people were talking about us being underdogs, people were talking about our character being questioned, and if that gave the players a little bit of an edge going into the game, thank you very much. I think it worked wonderfully for us. So if you can keep on questioning them in that way and they respond in that way, then that's fantastic, because the players answered a few questions from myself, answered a few questions from you, answered a few questions from the fans. But I reiterate, I see these guys train every day. I know what they're capable of. It's just them getting to glimpse at themselves and getting ready to access that on a more regular basis.
Playing against Aberdeen twice, so close. In terms of your preparation, you both learned something about each other in the first game. What should the preparation been like in terms of playing Aberdeen twice so close?
Well, all the staff have been tasked to go away and look at the game again, to look at areas where we got success, to look at areas where Aberdeen would try and hurt us. And we've come back in with a fairly comprehensive list, not all the same things, which is really good. That's why we have different eyes on it. But the main thing we have to do is recover the playing staff. We have to make sure that physically they're ready to go. We'll give them some detail, we'll give them some tactical information, but we have to make sure they're in the right mental state and physical state to take that on board. So there's no point in doing anything too early. We have to make sure they're in the right state to take it, and when they are, we'll give them what they need.
You talk about the mental state. Is that also about having a calmness when you go to the likes of Vittorio? For instance, Ryan Jack, everything that comes with him being a former Aberdeen player. I
thought Ryan Jack handled the situation very, very well at Ibrox. I thought he showed the reason we wanted him at the football club, and I thought that he set himself up for hopefully a very, very good afternoon on Sunday. I'm not concerned about his level of calmness. I'm more concerned about their ability to take information on. At the moment, it won't be the best because we're just match day +2. We have to make sure we wait until they can take stuff on cognitively so they can go and implement that information really, really well at the highest level. And when we do that, I'm sure the players can go and replicate that level of performance.
The chairman spoke yesterday at AGM, said that the club hoping to conclude their search for a new manager shortly. Does that, this might be your last match in charge? I mean, how do you view it in that sense? I mean, I know you always say it's not about you, but do you have any sort of sentiment when this is going to be perhaps your last game in charge of the guys?
The first game at Murtyfield could have been my last match. I'll approach it exactly the same, and I'll make sure that if I walk out the door on Sunday, it's my last one, then I'll take the lessons from it. I'll make sure that I thank the players, because wholeheartedly they've given me a lot. They've given me a lot to think about, but they've revealed a lot of their own character to me. So I will thank them, and I will move on and take the lessons I learned here forward. But we have to make sure that if it is my last game, we go and give ourselves the very, very best chance we can for the football club to get a result. Because, as I said when I first came in, it's about the football club moving forward and us leaving the football club in a good a state as possible when we do leave.
Have you enjoyed your stint in charge so far?
I have. I've learned a great deal about myself. I've learned different things. It's been a different learning experience from the first one. But once again, I think you'll only get an opportunity to reflect upon that when I can calm down a little bit and have some time to myself.
Different? Is it harder, easier in a sense? Can you compare?
Just different, really different, because there's different personalities and different issues at play. But once again, it's a fantastic learning experience, and it's a marvellous honour to be sitting here talking to you guys and actually being at the forefront of what this football club are trying to do, because when you're in it and when you see what this football club is all about, it does really, really closet you in a fantastic environment.
Has it increased your ambitions to go into management?
It's possibly increased my account of grey hairs, but as to management, I don't know where I could go actually that would give me the same feeling this place does, but that's something I'm going to have to take away with me and have a look at and consider along with my family in the future. But at the moment, I'm just concentrating on the day-to-day, because I have noticed people get lost in the process and lost in the speculation. I can't afford to do that. I'm not experienced enough to do that, so I'll just make sure that I concentrate on the things that the players need.
I mean, you say that, you know, nobody would give you a buzz quite like this place. You mean that if you're going to management, you have to have something at the scale of this? And you could
not at all, not at all. I just mean that since I've come to this place, I've been fascinated and not a little awestruck by the size and scale of the operation, the depth of feeling that it engenders in its support and in its players, and this is a very, very special club. So all I'll say is that for me to step into a different environment, I would have to feel that in a different way, but nothing could compare to this place because it is singular. It's out there on its own, so I don't have to compare it to scale. I just have to compare the feeling that you get when you walk through the door.
Can I just ask you about Carlos Peña? I know you spoke after the game, and I saw you with the fans. You were trying to get the fans to applaud him when he came off. Do you think this could be a turning point for him at Rangers, the way he played there?
I think it's a benchmark, as I said, for all the players. I think when he looks back on the things that he did really, really well, he'll be pleased with it. But as with everyone, there's areas we can improve, there's areas we can help him. But him coming on and scoring a goal, I'm not sure what more a manager can ask from a player coming back into a team, asking him to get in the box, asking him to play a 10, which is a very, very nuanced position. He went and did that. He showed some wonderful touches. We just have to make sure that the people around him appreciate him, and we can all get the best out of him for the football club.
Is he ready to play a full 90 minutes, do you think?
Possibly. I was more concerned with what Aberdeen were doing to us rather than Carlos himself. I just tried to change the shape to respond to what the Aberdeen manager had done, and I thought we did that because we kind of shut down what they were trying to do quite effectively.
Pedro, when he was here, spoke about Carlos needing time to adjust to the pace of the game here. I mean, do you think he's up to speed in that sense? Do you think he still needs time to get used to, you know, the pressures that you're going to put under him?
Well, if you think Carlos has had to adjust to a lot, he's gone across continents, he's got a new manager, he's in a new environment with new playing styles, new refereeing standards, new opposition, and now he's had to adapt to a new manager and a new style of play. So whatever I can do to make that easier for him and take away any stress, that's our job, not just myself, not just JJ, who's been fantastic with me, but also the playing staff. We have to try and appreciate everyone for the individual attributes they bring to the team, and I think that will be an ongoing process, whoever's in charge.
You also spoke after the game about Ross McCrory. I mean, he's been so impressive the way he's come into the team in his sort of more natural position as centre-half. What does it say about him that he was able to go into that midfield slot and do, you know, perform just as well as he has done in previous games?
I thought that he took information on really well. I thought the three of them in there, Ryan and Jason and Ross, gave us a real foundation to play from. I think that they helped the centre-halves squeeze the game and shut down some very, very enterprising attacks from Aberdeen. But he's a young man who has lots to learn. The good thing for me is he can take his own personal attributes and turn them to many, many positions. He can play both sides full-back, he can play centre-half in a 2, in a 3, he can play as a holding midfield player. And I think far from it being a negative in that he's not a specialist, he's actually good enough and clever enough to be thrown into numerous different situations and cope. And more than anything, more than the tactical stuff, I thought he handled the environment and the atmosphere and the occasion fantastically well for such a young man.
You speak about his intelligence, I mean, is that more than ever these days, is that got to be just as good as your technical ability? Is that especially for a defender to be able to read a game and make these decisions?
We work on all different levels, we work on all different aspects of the game, but Ross has been working in close proximity to Bruno, to Danny, to Fabio Cardoso, and these habits rub off. He's also been working with Ryan Jack and Jason Holt and Graeme Dorrans, so he sees high-level operators, and what he's done really well, he's encompassed all of their attributes and taking the things that he needs to improve his own game. He's done that remarkably well to evolve himself. Bearing in mind, he's still a young man, so he could go further on as long as he continues in this mindset and in this vein, because it's our job to make sure we help him reach his maximum potential.